All right, well, welcome everybody to this month's Accelerate Series webinar on navigating the new asset map experience. So my hope is by now that you are aware that we have a brand new UX experience that has been rolled out. You now have the ability to opt into that. We're going to talk all about the details as to why we've rolled out this new UX, how you can enable it, and then we'll go over all the neat and cool features that have come along with the new UX. That being said, let's first talk quickly about some housekeeping items. All lines are going to be muted because this is being recorded, and we like to have a solid recording that we can go ahead and share with all of you after today's session. So for those of you who are in attendance, you will be receiving an email an hour or so after today's webinar with some follow-up information, including the recording. All right. Now, that being said, if you have questions all throughout today's program, they are very important to me. And that's why you can use the questions feature within GoToWebinar to be able to submit any of those questions all throughout today's program. And lucky for us, my colleague is on the call with us here today. His name is Brad. I'll introduce him in just a moment, but he's going to be monitoring that chat all throughout today's program, and I'll be checking in with him periodically just to see if we have any outstanding questions. All right. So if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, you can use that questions feature within the GoToWebinar. And again, we'll be monitoring that all throughout today's program. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First things first, my name is Leah Jean McHenry. I am the Senior Training Manager over here at AssetMap. Been in the fintech space for a little over 6 years now. Previously worked at eMoney Advisor for a long time. Listen, I see a lot of familiar names on today's webinar. If I haven't had the pleasure of working with you or getting to speak with you, I hope to be able to do that in the future. Thank you so much for being here. And as I mentioned, my incredible colleague, Brad Janicki, is on the line with us here today. He is our customer success advisor, and we're very fortunate that he is going to be managing any of those questions that come in. So again, any questions, please submit them in the questions area, and we'll make sure to get those answered as they come through. All right, let's break down our agenda today. Now, everything to do with today's webinar is going to be all about navigating the new asset map experience. That's directly speaking to our new UX. So really what today's webinar is going to be about is just kind of showcasing to you how you can navigate through the new experience and what are the new innovations that have come along with it. I think something that's really important to highlight is that we have not taken any functionality away from you, and really the look and feel of the new UX is not all too different than what you've already been experiencing in what we're calling the classic view. Now, things may look a little bit different or behave a little bit differently or be slightly moved or enhanced in areas, but trust me, this is for your benefit. And I'm excited to take you through the material today because AssetMap Classic was great. It is great, but we have completely taken things to the next level with the new AssetMap UX, and I'm excited to take you through today. We'll, of course, spend some time on support and resources always. If you have joined me the last several months throughout this series, you know that I'm very passionate about making sure that you know that you have support and resources available to you, where you can find them, what your options are. So we'll certainly save some time for that. And then we'll, of course, wrap up with any Q&A. But again, throughout today's program, you can use that questions box. Brad will be answering the questions all throughout today's session. But let's go ahead and get started. Now, I want to start by saying that this is what the new UX experience is going to look like. And you may have received a banner or you may have received some kind of notification to let you know that it is now available for you to enable it on. What does that mean? Well, if I go in my top menu up here on the top right-hand side in AssetMap, I'm going to actually go back to the classic UX experience. So this is what you all should be somewhat familiar with if you've been in AssetMap prior to earlier this week. This is what we're calling the classic UX experience. So now when you log into AssetMap, when you click on your main menu on the top right-hand side, you're going to have the ability to enable the new UX. Now, this is a sticky feature as of Tuesday. So back in February, we rolled out the new UX and it was an open beta format, meaning that we got the word out there. We wanted to let you know that it's available. If you want to take a sneak peek, you can get in there. Now we've rolled out phase 2, which as of Tuesday of this week, now when you click enable new UX, it's a sticky feature, meaning that every time you log into AssetMap moving forward, it's going to be that new UX experience. I personally highly recommend that you do this. And the reason being is that Eventually, this is what we're going to be completely transitioned over to when it comes to AssetMap. Everyone's going to be in the new UX experience in the coming weeks. So no better time than to start today than to enable that new UX. Now, that being said, you still will have the ability to click into your main menu and you can navigate back to the classic UX if you so choose. Now, it's important for you to know that we're referring to it as the classic version of AssetMap and then the new UX version. This is important from a support perspective because while we're in this transition of folks enabling it and possibly going back into the classic version from time to time as they're getting comfortable, we need to know from a support perspective what view you're looking at so that we can guide you appropriately. So from a support perspective, if we ever ask you, are you in the classic or the new UX version, that's what we are referencing there. But again, I highly recommend that you navigate to the new UX. Now, let's first address why. Why are we rolling out this new UX? Well, first, it was what really fueled this change is this idea of improved performance. So what do I mean by that? Our development and product team, they took a step back and they evaluated our classic version of AssetMap architecturally from the back end. And we saw that there were a lot of ways for us to improve to really allow users to move faster throughout the application to really deliver that quality speed of advice. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that we kept getting incredible feedback from our users of, oh, I'd love to see this enhancement. I'd love if you could change this. And within our classic version of AssetMap, although it was fantastic, it was quite difficult to make some of those minor adjustments on the back end. And so now that we have architecturally fully rebuilt the application using the new UX, enhancements in the future are going to be a lot more feasible for us, which is really exciting. And then of course we also had to have some fun with it, and we gave it a nice new look and feel, and the colors really match our brand to really express ourselves as our company. So I personally love the new look and feel. I love how fast it is to be able to move throughout the application, and I'm excited to showcase to you today really where everything lives. And keep in mind that in terms of where everything lived before, nothing has really changed. Now, some things might be moved a little bit on a page here or there, but relatively speaking, how you're going to navigate through this new UX experience is going to be relatively the same. And I just want to stress that because I know that sometimes change can be a little bit scary. You get comfortable using something one way and then we make a change, but I promise you that everything is exactly where you need it to be. If anything, the enhancements that we made are going to make things a lot more easy for you moving forward, and it's going to be really great for your client experience. So if you're going to be presenting live with an AssetMap, really having a streamlined menu, things like that. All right, so let's start with the home page here. Starting on our homepage, you're going to see that now you're immediately going to be greeted with the ability to search for households. You can view your household index. You can also add a household. Now, the 3 different ways that you can add households into the application are all available to you in this one button. So when we click on that, we're now going to prompt you with the 3 different options. You can manually add a household. You can check out our discovery tool. If you want to enable integrations, that's where those are going to be listed. Same features up on the top left-hand side, ability for you to search for households that you're looking for. Also, if you click on your household icon up on the top left, new enhancement here. Previously, it used to take you into the household index. Now we're going to prompt you for 2 separate options. Do you want to go see your household index, or do you want to actually add a household into the application? Same feature here where when you click on the logo up at the top where it says AssetMap, if you click on that, it's going to take you right back to the homepage of where you're looking before. You still have the ability to navigate into our support center, our discovery tool, and integrations also available to you at the bottom of the application, very similarly to how it looked prior. All right, help button is still available to you over on the right hand side. I'm just going to quickly touch on support resources right off the bat. When you expand our support menu, don't forget that if you're looking for support or resources, we have everything you need available live in app, and we're not going to disrupt your workflow. If you click into the floating button here, you have the ability to chat in directly to our team, the ability to search through our entire resource database where we have hundreds of pieces of content. And remember, you're going to search keywords like target maps, discovery, stencils, layouts. If you use the keywords surrounding what it is that you're looking for, I promise you that we have an article or a video or both surrounding that particular topic. Down below that, you of course can email into our support team if you have questions. So if you don't have time to chat with us live in app, you certainly can always submit a question. And then down here at the bottom, this content tends to change depending on if we have trainings that are upcoming or new relative content. Right now, it's the ability for you to learn about Asset Map in 30 minutes or less. And this is, again, in the new user experience. So even if you've been with Asset Map for a long time, if you're just looking for a refresher, a great option for you to check out there. All right, so that's going to be the home page here. Your main menu is now going to be your profile picture up on the right-hand side. So previously you clicked on your name. Now you're going to go ahead and click on your profile picture. If you don't have a profile picture added into the software using your user preferences section, then it's just going to be a little avatar. All right, but as a reminder, if you join me for any trainings that I've done in the past, I always recommend that you add in a profile picture because it does flow through to other areas of the application, like the discovery interview tool. And what better way than to have those be branded as an extension of you with being your actual image rather than a cartoon avatar. All right, so just keep that in mind. So in terms of functionality for the menu, all the same options are going to appear here for you. So if you wanted to go into user preferences, you wanted to navigate into discovery, target map preferences, all still going to be here for you. In addition, up here on the top right, if you go ahead and click, if you hover over this, this is going to be another way for you to access our support center. If you click on that, it's just another way to expand our help button down here at the bottom. All right, so just again, navigating you to exactly where you might be looking for some assistance. All right, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and click into the discovery because I want to show you a little bit how this has changed. So now when we click into our discovery interview tool, in terms of the ability to generate an outbound link and an inbound link, all the features still remain. Same thing goes for your household summary page, which we're seeing listed below. All those different options to see for those outbound links that you might have generated. Anyone who's come through your inbound discovery link, all the different options for actions still apply here. Now, if you hover over any of these, they'll let you know what the different icons mean, which is really helpful. In addition, on the top right, we still have that great tutorial video that's available to you. So this is a webinar that was done by our CEO and founder, Adam Holt, about how he implemented the discovery process. One thing that's a little bit different now when you create an outbound discovery link is that you'll actually type in the person's name right off the top. So let's say, for example, that I've been working with an individual. His name is Peter Singer. I will type in his name up here at the top. Once I click create discovery, that's how it's going to generate an outbound discovery link. And now I'll be prompted with the same three options that the application gave us prior in the classic UX version as well. All right, so that's just one section that's slightly a little bit different. All the same features still remain. You just type in the name here. As soon as you click create discovery, that generates your outbound discovery link. Your inbound discovery link lives right here where you can copy that. Again, if I copy that and I paste it in a new tab, as long as you have your profile picture added, it's going to be branded specific to you, look and feel, it's still going to remain the same, right? Which is really exciting because we know how much clients and prospects love that experience moving forward. All right, so that being said, I'm going to go ahead and actually navigate to a client now. So I'm going to come up here to the top left-hand side and I'm going to search for a household. So I'm going to go ahead and use a sample client for today's example. I'm going to use my young family sample. And now this is going to be our new look and feel of our household summary page. So now we have our household up here on the top left-hand side. You can see that the look and feel, everything is still remains in its original spot. However, we've kind of provided this new in terms of the colors and how things kind of pop, the new look and feel of the application. All right, now previously up at the top there in the classic version, you'll recall that when you were in a household that you had your menu all along the top. Well, we've taken that and we've gone 3 steps even better, and we've moved the menu completely over to the left hand side, and we've added in even more available to you so that you can quickly navigate to exactly the areas that you're looking for. Less clicks. In some cases, you used to have to click into the household summary page, then click into key financial figures, or you'd have to click into reports to click into the interactive beneficiary report. All of that has been streamlined for you in your left-hand menu. Now, for some of you, you might be saying, well, like, what do all these little icons mean? Well, if you hover over each of them, it's going to tell you, but you can always expand the menu by clicking the black button up here on the top left-hand side. Expanding that arrow, it's going to open things up. It's going to list exactly what those different sections are. So the same features remain. You can go to the household summary page. You can go to the asset map report, the members inventory, the financials inventory, target maps. Now all those interactive reports are going to be broken out for you here as well. So the beneficiary report, the policy summary, the balance sheet, and the notes report, so that if you wanted to quickly navigate there, you can. And then of course, our summarization here. So let's kind of go through some of these different sections so that you can kind of see some of the new enhancements that have changed. We also have our actions menu up here on the top left. This is a great option for you to click on that for the ability to quickly add a member, an additional entity, maybe any additional assets that you're looking for, a target map, or even adding in a sub-advisor that you're looking to add. So that actions menu is going to be really helpful for you in the future as well. So let's go ahead and navigate to the asset map report. And as you can see, asset map report is still the design, the original design is still the same, exactly the way that we want it to be, and for good reason, right? Because we know that this is a crowd favorite. But I will share with you that one enhancement has been made is that you can now have more than 2 people appear on the asset map. For example, if I click on Barry as well on the top right hand side, anything that is added under Barry's name is also going to be included, and now we'll be looking at the household as a whole. All right, so previously, if you were going to create a layout, you could only do that for 2 people at a time. Now you have the ability to select multiple members. And actually, I'll go ahead and navigate into even a different household just so that you can see the power of this. So I'll navigate to my Cole household. You can see everything loads so much faster. If I click into the asset map, I have Garrison and Georgia Cole. They have some children. All right, up here at the top, this is, and his mother and also his brother, who's his business partner. They have a business, they have a trust. If I wanted to include these other individuals and entities, all I have to do is click on the individual's name up here at the top. Anyone or anything that I click is now going to be included in this particular asset map. All right. And if I wanted to, right now, I have every single person selected, right? Every single person, every single entity. So we have a business and a trust selected as well. If I wanted to, I could also save this as a layout, and it can generate through the report section as well. So if you're familiar with layouts, in order to save a layout, you can click the actions bar over here on the left, and you have the ability to click layouts here. Another really cool feature that I'm excited to share with you is that now when you hover over the asset map, if you use your mouse and you right click, we now have a quick actions menu available to you so that you can move a lot quicker through the application. All right. So this is going to be a condensed version of this actions menu here for just quick things that you might want to turn things on or off, or if you want to apply a stencil or quickly save a layout or generate a PDF. So if I wanted to save this version of the asset map as a layout, I can click layouts, and I could go ahead and say save current layout, and then I could go ahead and give this a name, and I could call this whole household. And I could click create layout. And just like that, a layout has been created. Now, when you right click the quick menu on the asset map, in order to get rid of it, you just have to click off to the side and it will be removed. So to turn it on, you right click on your mouse, you can access the menu. If you wanted to remove it, you just click off to the side. Right? If you wanted to remove anyone from this view, you can just simply uncheck them up here at the top. Really nice functionality for you to be able to move quickly throughout the application. Right? If you're using integrations, all of that will flow over as well. You can see that I have these folks hooked up to the Riskalyze integration, so their risk profile for portfolio and target score have all pulled over, along with anything tied to those particular investments. Okay. Coming over onto the left-hand side, when it comes to target maps, you're just going to see an enhanced view in terms of visualization of colors and whatnot. Something that I love so much that now happens is that now when you hover over any of these bars, will actually tell you the percentage of what is cash, what is assets, and if there was insurance, that would be in a teal blue color as well. Okay, now when you add a new target map as well, we're going to have all those nice pre-templated target maps, and they are going to be colored accordingly. So retirement funding bar is always going to be green, education in yellow, long-term care in purple, long-term disability in orange, loss of life in blue, custom will be in gray. So what is that talking about? Speaking exactly to this. So this is the loss of life, so that's always going to be blue. If I hover over it, I can see 10% of this funding is cash flow, 1% of this is assets, and 6% of this is insurance. I could hover over this, it could break it down for me as well. Now, in terms of how target maps look in the new UX, the look and feel is exactly the same as it was before. Calculations, everything being the same, which is fantastic. So now we're going to have the ability to still have our funding bar at the top, our parameters below, and then we still have our key tabs, what you want, what we're solving for, what you have, what are we going to dedicate as funding to this particular goal, and then let's tie it all together and what it means. Just as a quick aside, if you didn't know, every time you open up a target map, it's always on the what it means tab, and for good reason. We believe that if you are going to present this live in front of a client, this is the perfect tab to start on because it provides the exact summarization of what it is that we're looking at. We break out what the capital required is, that's the what you want tab. Then we break out the capital available, which is the what you have tab. Based off of what we're solving for, and what we have, that's what's going to project our present capital deficit or if we were overfunded or anything like that. All right. So certainly a great addition here as well. And then of course, you're still going to have that great cash flow report up here at the top. Everything where you can hover over the different sections all still remains the same. All right, now you can quickly move into the notes tab. And what's great here is that you can go into the members. If there's no notes that have been done, that's a quick way for you to do that. You can click into the no members section here. And from there, it'll just let you know that you've got no notes that have been added. So what does that mean? That just means that you need to go to the asset map report. It means that you can click into the members here, and I can go into the notes tab and I could type something up, right? So if I wanted to say retiring on March 31st, 2022. Okay, I'm just adding this in as an example. I could click update. Once I add something in the notes tab here, it's going to take a moment and then it's been updated and it's saved. Now, when I go to the notes tab, I'm going to see that it'll list off any members that have been added and any notes pertaining to them. The same concept goes for financials. So if we navigate back into the asset map report, notice how I'm moving between these sections and it's loading so quickly. So I have the ability that if I wanted to, I could click into a financial instrument. I could click into the notes tab and I could say, need updated statement, right? Because this is not a account that I manage or that's pulling over from Riskalyze where I can resync the new up-to-date value. So I can click update. And now I've just saved a note tied to that asset, navigating back to that notes tab, and it's going to be listed here accordingly. Now, remember that notes can be a really valuable report that you can include in deliverables that you give to clients, or perhaps you're just using those note sections as your personal checklist for tasks and things that you want to complete. Just remember that you don't have to include the notes report within when you generate a report down here. Now we have our next three interactive reports that are all quickly available to you in your main menu on the left-hand side now, where these are interactive. What we mean by that is that this is the balance sheet, and right now for this particular balance sheet, we're only including Garrison and Georgia. Maybe we want to include their child, so I could turn on Alana, and she will now be included. Maybe we want to also turn on Grandma Mimi, right? This is Garrison's mom. I could turn her on and now she's included. Maybe Alexander, who is Garrison's brother and business partner, I can turn them on. I can even turn on the taco truck and the special needs trust if I so choose. If anything's applicable, it will appear. And then down at the bottom, I'm going to have the ability to see net worth. Okay, so you can see I have a lot of people turn on this report. So now I have to kind of scroll. I have the ability to scroll so that everything fits into view. Another way is that I can minimize this menu and now everything will appear rightfully so as well. So if you find yourself saying, I don't want to have to scroll back and forth, one way to kind of save yourself a little bit of space is you can expand the menu, minimize the menu as well. And then if you want to uncheck anyone, you just simply uncheck their names and it'll go back accordingly. This same process can be followed for the policy summary as well. Now, for the policy summary, you can choose to include or disclude the members and entities, and you can also choose to include or disclude the different types of insurance depending on what it is that you're looking for. And each of these reports, you'll have the ability to generate a PDF up on the upper right-hand side. So if I wanted to quickly produce a report with just Garrison and Georgia, with every single type of insurance, maybe except property and casualty, I could uncheck and I could click generate a report up here on the top right hand side, right? Same thing for that balance sheet, same generate report over there on the top right. All right, last interactive report is going to be that beneficiaries report. So you'll select one member at a time to be able to see what their beneficiaries are going to look like, right? So if I click on Georgia, it'll just be the beneficiary report tied specific to Georgia. If she was to pass away today, who would be the beneficiaries of those assets? I could switch back to Garrison, I could switch into Mimi, those different pieces there as well. So where does that all feed to? Well, let's come to the reports tab as well, because this is where you can come to be able to compile and choose, which of the different reports that you want to include. To include a report, you come over to the right and you simply just need to check the box. When you check the box, then it will be outlined, it'll not be grayed out anymore, and it'll know that that's going to be included now. We also added in these really great features up here at the top. These are new, the ability for you to be able to see how many reports have been selected and the estimated page count. So if you're someone who's saying, I'm just trying to keep this to 5 pages, or I just want this to be 3 pages, keep in mind that depending on your broker dealer, you may have to include the cover page and disclosure, right? Those are mandatory always. And then from there, you'll have the ability to include different aspects here as well. Now, for our interactive reports like the beneficiary report, you can actually expand this another level, because remember, you can choose to include or disclude certain members. So you can select everybody, or perhaps you want to unselect and you only want Garrison and Georgia to be featured on that. You can select that there, and then you just have to select the overarching report saying, I want the beneficiary report, but I only want it to include my primary client and spouse. Right? Same thing if I move on down to the asset map. Remember that any additional layouts that you've created will all appear underneath. Remember, be intentional with your naming criteria so that you don't get them mixed up. So maybe in this case, I not only want to show my default asset map, which is always the primary client and spouse, but maybe I also want to show my layout that I created for George and his mom, George and his brother, and then I also want to go ahead and showcase that entire household layout that I created with you all just a few moments ago. All right, so that's again why naming criteria can be really, really important so that we can keep track of everything that it is that we're doing. All right, that being said, if we continue on down, same thing for the balance sheet and the policy summary. Those are interactive reports, meaning that you have the ability to select or deselect whom you want to be included on that. So maybe for the balance sheet, I do want it to be included in the overarching deliverable, but perhaps I don't want to include Alexander on that particular one, or maybe I do. You can check them on and off accordingly. Same thing for the policy summary. Who do you want to be included? And then what types of insurance do you want to be included? Right? Maybe Alexander doesn't have any insurance in this case. It's not applicable. Maybe the same thing for Mimi because I don't have that information. So maybe I just want it to be my primary client, spouse, and their child, and then the following types of insurance. Now, based off of your selection, if I scroll back up to the top, I'm going to see that based off of what I've selected, I have 7 out of 12 reports. That gives me an estimated page count of 15. And now when I want to generate that comprehensive report that I can deliver to the client, I can just simply click generate report up here on the upper right-hand side. All right. So another cool feature is if I actually navigate back to the asset map report, I hope that you all know about our incredible marker tool, which can be really valuable for you to use for presentation purposes, whether it be for a remote meeting or in person, and you have us projected up on the screen. We still have that amazing marker tool available to you. However, by popular demand, you now can pick your color. So a big theme that we saw a lot and a lot of feedback that we received is, why does it always have to just be black, red, and blue? Can we have a different color? Well, you certainly can, because now you can come over here to the little paint icon. You can click on that here and look at that. You can come through. You can even look for a hex number if you have it. If you're looking for something specific, you can pick a different color. And then once you do that, you can just click off to the side and click the X. Now, when you click back on the menu up here, it's going to add in whatever that color is that you selected. So I can turn on my marker, I can click on that here, and I'm going to have the ability now, if I turn this back on, excuse me, I'm going to click on that. I now have the ability to draw over and look at this beautiful magenta fuchsia color that I selected. All right. So that is a new enhancement that has come along as well. It's definitely something that we received a lot of feedback on. I'm excited to share that with you. Shortcuts still remain the same. So the marker shortcuts, they still remain the same. Again, you're always going to have the red and the black marker steadily available. And then based off of what you select here for the color picker, that's what's going to appear for the third option. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, I'm going to click off to the side here. So as you can see, a lot of really great new features. So let's kind of reiterate some of those that I just mentioned. So now you have the ability to include more than 2 people when it comes to creating a layout. And now you can include more, so you can include more than 2 people in the middle of the asset map by simply clicking on the different names up here at the top, different entities as well, if you so choose. And if you want, you can save it as a layout. So you can right click for that quick menu, and I could click save as a layout. I've already done this earlier today, but you would just click save current layout, and then you would go ahead and provide that with a name based off of your selection and who you have checked on up here at the top. That brings me to the second enhancement. So now we actually have a quick actions menu available to you. All you have to do is hover over the asset map, right click, and that's where it's going to bring that up. So you're going to have the ability to create a layout, apply a stencil. And it's important for you to know that all your custom stencils, all of your household index layouts and things that you've created from the classic UX, they've all they've all transitioned over into the new UX as well, right? So you're not going to have to duplicate your efforts. I can quickly switch back into the classic UX right now if I wanted to, and I would have, I still have access to everything except some minor enhancements, such as the ability for you to select multiple members. That's only available in the new UX, and things like the marker feature to be able to pick that new color, having those quick interactive reports available to you on the left-hand side. Right. That brings me to the next thing, which is we took the menu that was originally up along the top and we moved it over to the left-hand side to create more space, but also to kind of hide those different words, because I think that sometimes, in a client meeting, if clients or prospects aren't familiar with the words, you don't want to get sidetracked or go down a different direction if they ask, well, what is the target map? Maybe you're not ready to have that target map conversation with them. So now we've streamlined that, moved your entire menu over to the left-hand side, and we took it even a step further. Took it a step further to where it can be minimized, where you can navigate into the different sections by these nice little icons, or you can expand it out. And then we took it even farther than that and added in the notes, report, the interactive balance sheet, policy summary, and beneficiaries, and then the ability for you to, of course, click into reports. And then lastly, your key financial figures are now quickly available to you on the left-hand side as well. All right, so if you wanted to take a look at those. All right, Brad, let me check in with you for just a second. How are we doing on questions?
Pretty good. A lot of questions around Riskalyze and the risk scores.
Oh,
Um, yeah, no worries.
okay, perfect.
And yeah, other than that, I think we're pretty much good to go. One question just came in: is it now quicker to edit stencils as well? I imagine it probably is, as a stencil is created as a household within the system. And applied stencils as well too, I imagine, are probably quicker to add and delete as well.
Yes, absolutely. So I could be on this asset map, for example. I could use my quick menu by just right clicking over the asset map. I could click apply stencil. From here, I'm going to have the ability to select the different options. So I can select my building block stencil. Do I want to apply it to the whole household? I can select yes, no. Those features all still remain. If you select no, that lets you know who do you want to select, whom to apply it to. Maybe you want to just select one piece of that stencil. Remember, you can apply them in full or in part. Maybe for this example, I just want to show applying the whole stencil to my primary client. I can click apply stencil, and you're going to notice it's going to think for just a moment, but in a matter of seconds, it's then going to overlay onto the asset map. All right, so keep in mind that that is going to take place. All right. And this actually might be my fault because I have a lot of browsers open. So as you can see, it just added it back on. So now again, when you have the quick menu pulled up, all you have to do is click off to the side to remove it. We've overlaid a stencil. I can quickly click into these different sections, fill it out. You'll notice how quickly everything opens up. If something's not applicable for a placeholder, you can still remove it with ease by simply just clicking yes, and it will remove that from view. Okay, great question though. So other than that, what's important to take away from this is that, of course, we've rolled out this new UX, but I know that some of you are going to say, well, I have some different pieces of feedback that I'd love to provide. And listen, we'd love to hear from you. So that being said, if you have any feedback that you'd like to provide regarding the new UX, you can click on your main menu on the top right-hand side, and you're going to have the ability to submit some feedback here. So over on the right, you can select feedback. When you do that, it's going to take you over into our ProdPad section, which is going to allow you the opportunity to add your name, your email address, and any suggestions or pieces of feedback that you'd like to provide. Another way that you can provide feedback is you can always expand the help menu. So again, if you click on the bubble on the top right hand side, it's going to make our floating help area available to you anywhere. And from here, you could chat into our team. You could provide a piece of feedback, or if you'd like to email into our team as well, that's another option that you can do. All right. And then as Brad mentioned regarding the Risklize, that's just specific to an integration. So if you don't have access to Risklize, that may not be applicable to you. I apologize. I'm just using that for today's example with the client that I chose to use. So that being said, I want to ask you all a quick question. So over the course of the next several months for the Accelerate series, we're really going to move into a more process-driven, excuse me, here we go. Okay, perfect. We're going to move into a more process-driven experience. So what I mean by that, that means that all the webinars moving forward, not only am I going to share with you the technical aspect of how to do different things, but I want to teach you about the Asset Map process, because Asset Map is more than just a software. It's a process. We have a lot of different sections, different frameworks, different processes that we believe in, that we know will help you be successful as you choose to implement and use Asset Map moving forward. So we want to make sure that we're sharing those best practices with you in every training moving forward. So stay tuned for that. Now, that being said, I want to go ahead and ask you a quick question. A poll is going to pop up on the screen here. All right. I want to know, from a training perspective, what areas would you really like to learn more about? All right, target maps, is it the Asset Map report? Is it discovery? Is it stencils? There is no wrong answer here, because I can promise you that we will cover all these areas through the course of the upcoming months. But I think it's important for us to know, from a training perspective, what my attendees want to learn more about. And you all are my attendees, and I care about you. I care about your progress as you're using Asset Map moving forward. So if you could please just take a second, for those of you that might be looking at the other monitor, if you would just fill out this quick poll for me. I'm going to close it out here in just a couple seconds. But one of the ways that we can, I think that at Asset Map, we always continue to innovate and improve, is that we want to hear from you. We love and value your feedback, whether that be on the product, whether that be about trainings. I would love to hear from you. So, all right, awesome. Thank you so much for filling that out. I sincerely appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. That being said, I'd like to now move into next steps. So Brad, can you just confirm for me that you can see my screen and that the poll has been minimized?
You are good to go.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and navigate back to my very last slide, and let's now talk about next steps. So of course, I want to encourage you to sign up for next month's Accelerate series webinar. It's all going to be about building a strong foundation in Asset Map. So if you're somebody who's brand new and just getting started, highly recommend that you sign up for that. Even if you've been with us for some time, it might be a really valuable webinar for you to attend, just to make sure that you have things set up appropriately, that you know the different pieces and resources that are available, and the application, the tools that you can use, great resources, things like that. Next comes, listen, if you love Asset Map, I want to hear from you. I'd love for you to leave us a review if you have the time, or you want to take a second. There's no better way than for our peers in the industry to know about what is working for people. And, you know, evaluating your tech stack is important. And if Asset Map is something that you're passionate about, you're excited about, it'd be great to hear from you so that we could share that with your peers as well. And then lastly, I would absolutely love it if you would join us for our upcoming boot camp. So, if you're unaware, AssetMap hosts a virtual boot camp quarterly. Our next one is coming up in April 27th to the 29th. And it is a 3-day experience. Now, you can attend just the first day, which is our 101 session, or you can attend just our 201 session, which is broken out over 2 days. And these are all half-day events, right? So it's a very immersive experience. Myself and my CEO and founder, Adam Holt, we do these trainings together, and it's an incredible experience for any of you who have even been with AssetMap for a long time. I know a lot of you have attended in the past. We even have a lot of returning advisors where they come once a year because they find it so valuable. So whether you're just getting started or perhaps you've been with us for some time, it's a great experience. Brad's going to put in the chat right now a link tree. So if you click on that, it'll actually open up and showcase to you some different resources, the ability for you to sign up for next month's webinar, if you want to leave us a review, if you want to sign up for bootcamp. And listen, we don't typically offer this big of a discount. This is an exclusive discount that I'd like to offer to each of you here today, simply with the excitement and rollout of this new UX. I wanted to provide you all with a promo code for 25% off bootcamp. So again, snag your seat today. I promise you won't regret it. If the ability for you to learn more about the event is going to be in that link tree, just look for the boot camp section. You can click on that link. There will be an agenda. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us for support. You can ask for me, Leah Jean. I'd be happy to discuss any questions that you might have surrounding that event. Other than that, Brad's also going to throw a quick survey in the chat. If you all don't mind, please take 2 seconds, if you don't mind, and fill out the survey. Let me know if this webinar was helpful to you, if you're excited about using the new UX, the new innovations, and keep in mind that we're going to continue to make enhancements in the future. Now that we've rebuilt the architecture on the back end, it's going to allow us to be able to really evaluate and make enhancements. The survey is only 3 questions: your email, what you thought of today's webinar, and if you have any comments that you'd like to leave, and I'd love to hear from you. So if you could take just a moment, helps me know if this training is beneficial and how we can improve in the future. All right, Brad, any outstanding questions before we wrap up today?
We have Rob asking you how much caffeine you ingested today, as you absolutely crushed it. So impressive energy, LJ.
Oh, thank you. I actually only had 1 cup of coffee. I'm just a naturally very energetic person. So thank you so much for that compliment. I appreciate that. All right. So again, in the chat, you're going to find the link tree that's going to open it up. It's going to expand on some resources if you want to sign up for next month's training, you want to leave us a review, if you want to learn more about bootcamp. Brad also provided the promo code for 25% off. That's LJBC25. Definitely snag your seat. I'd love to see your face in bootcamp. I'd love to get to meet you. And then lastly, if you could take a second just to fill out that survey, that would be super, super special. So thank you so much. And if there's not anything else, I'm going to go ahead and end this recording. Thank you all so much for your time. I hope you have a great remainder to your week, and don't be afraid to reach out to us from a support perspective if you have any questions.